Welcome, welcome, welcome. Another Facebook Live. First one for me for this week. I've got another two coming up, but this one is this one is my favorite, one of my favorite topics, and it's about storytelling. Storytelling, yeah. Use it in your marketing to get better results. We'll get started in a minute. Just need to get a few people on board, and then I'll get started with the topic. Who have we got here? Taz. Hi, Taz. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah. Get a couple more, and then I'll start. How to use stories in your marketing. How to use stories to build your business. That's the topic. That's the topic. One of my favorite topics. Build your story. Yeah. And then leverage it. Build your story, then leverage it. And I've got a really good example for you, but I think before I give you the example, I want to perhaps just focus on the best definition, or one of the best definitions. I've got a good definition for you. Most people, most marketers, particularly struggling marketers, do not use stories in their marketing, or if they do, they don't use them very effectively or very often. Storytelling, wow, it's just so powerful. It's unbelievable if used properly. I've used stories to make, well, look, even including a little story in an email. That email has made me, sometimes I've made more than $10,000 from a single email, primarily because I used a story in the email. So stories work so well, they rock. If you're on Facebook Messenger and you're talking to people, using stories works very well if it's done properly. Hi Val, good to see you. Val from Alaska. Craig, g'day Craig, how are you? Penny, hi Penny. Oh yeah, that's great. All right, so this topic of storytelling, I'll get started in a minute, but just a brief mention about me, who I am, what I do. I'm a digital nomad. I've been marketing online since 2006, but 5 years ago I decided I had all these things on my bucket list, and I decided that I wanted to break free. And so I started traveling, and I've been traveling ever since, often in conjunction with my sons. And so right now all of us are in Asia and exploring different cultures, different aspects of the countries that we reside in. I'm in Cambodia at the moment. Next year it looks like I'm shifting over to Vietnam. So, but the point is that if you've got kind of a location independent income, it doesn't really matter where you are. So just think about that. There's lots of things you can do if you're if you're a digital marketer, an online marketer, etc. So yeah, it's great, and having fun. Tonight, for me, it's Wednesday morning for me now. Tonight for me is a little bit special. Often I go out, live music. I'm into live music. I do things like that. So you can do it, explore different cultures, different music scenes, etc. Simply because you are location independent. I guess you could do that if you're back home as well, but it seems to be more interesting when you're in a different country with a kind of a different culture. All right, so that's enough of me. Hi, Mike. Penny, I said hi to Penny. All right, storytelling. How to use stories and leverage them to make more money. I guess over my career as a marketer, I've been using stories, a lot. Even before I became an online marketer, I was using stories in the offline world, using stories, customer stories, my story, parables even. That's a form of a story, isn't it? Even a metaphor is kind of is a type of story, isn't it? A metaphor. Do you use metaphors in your marketing? Love using metaphors. In fact, I'm writing a kind of a pillar post for my blog at the moment, and it's 32 hot. It's called 32. It's not ready yet, so I'm not promoting it, but I'm just telling it. It's called 32 Hot Copywriting Tips to Grow Your Business. I think that's the title. I may change it, but that's more or less it. And I've actually got a master list of about 40 different topics, or 40 different tips, but I've narrowed it down to about 32. But one of the most important ones is to do with storytelling. telling stories, yeah. Now, I'm going to have to read something. I don't like to do this, but there's no way I could commit it to memory. I just want to share with you. This is another post that I wrote about storytelling. And the question was, what is storytelling? What is storytelling? That's the subheadline there. And this is what I said. According to Wikipedia, storytelling is the conveying of events in words, sound, and or images, often by improvisation or embellishment. You got that? According to Wikipedia, storytelling is the conveying of events in words, sound, and or images, often by improvisation or embellishment. Pretty much covers it, doesn't it? And then I just go on to say, another 2 short paragraphs, through the ages, stories have been used in every culture to entertain, inspire, profit from, teach morality, instill hatred and fear, and maintain cultural norms. Storytelling can take the form of drawings, paintings, the written word, and the spoken word. With the advent of electronic media, the breadth and scope of storytelling opportunities have increased exponentially. So that's my take on storytelling in terms of a definition and, you know, just give you an idea of the scope of storytelling. Storytelling is used all the time. Politicians use it, the media use it, journalists use it, entertainers use it. So we as marketers ought to be using it as well. And I'm just remembering back, just recalling the first month as an online marketer, my first month, I developed a story. I developed 2 stories in that month. The first story was my lead generation story, because I hadn't made any money, right? So the first couple of weeks, I just focused on generating leads. I did what my teacher, my mentor told me to do, and just focus on leads for now, and then we'll worry about conversions later. So I said, okay, I'll develop some leads. I'll get some leads flowing, all right? And the idea back then was to phone the leads, right? So it wasn't completely online. There was still the telephone aspect. Now, I've spoken about this on previous Facebook Lives that I've run. But so I phoned the leads. Now, this was kind of a business opportunity kind of a thing. And so these leads consisted of people that were interested in generating income, learning about online marketing, etc. And so they'd asked me how much money I'd made, and I had to tell them the truth. It was nothing. I hadn't made a cent. After 1 week, after 2 weeks, even 3 weeks, hadn't made a cent. But I still had a story. And the story was that I'd already, even after 1 week, I'd already generated my first, whatever it was, 30 leads. I can't remember, because this is in 2006. But I generated 30 leads, right? And 30 leads is better than no leads. I was excited about it. Okay, I didn't have any money in the bank. I hadn't made any money from it, but I had 30 leads. And guess what? I developed it into a little story, a little success story, and I shared it with the people that I was talking to on the phone, right? So that's just a very simple example of using a story. Okay, it was my personal story, but, you know, if I didn't have a story, I'd use someone else's story anyway. But to me, that's a very good example of using a story for benefit, for maximum impact. Okay, and then when I did make money at the end of the first month, all right, now I had a money story, an income story, and I used that story. And I often say to people that I dined off that first month's income story for the next 12 months. You know what I mean? Because I made about $9,000, something like that. Now. But even before I had my money story, I had my lead generation story. And if they asked about money, okay, I'd use someone else's story, my mentor's story, other people that I'd spoken to on the phone who were using this system and were making money from it. So I packaged up their stories and I matched their circumstance with the right story. Okay, so stories can be incredibly powerful, no doubt about it. Now, let's see who else we got here. Pedram, hi Pedram, good to see you again. Moika, haven't seen you for quite a while. Kyle, g'day mate, how are you? Kyle from Sydney. Mike, did I say yeah, I did, to Mike, and yeah. Okay, my echo is huge, standing in a stadium. Not really, Pedram, I can't really do much about that, short of going into a recording or something like that. Is anybody else having problems with the echo? Can you just say, if you are or no, not having a problem, can you just type that in? That'd be great. Anyone else having a problem with it? I've got my microphone, everything's working as far as I'm concerned, so there shouldn't be a problem. So anyway, okay, so it looks like just the one person. All right, okay, so storytelling. Storytelling can take, can manifest in all sorts of different ways. So if you're a marketer, I think you need to have, it depends on your niche, but you need to have a customer story, particularly if you're selling tangible products like health products, you know, weight loss products, other types of products. You need at least one customer story. And what I used to do is that I used to develop a suite of stories, and I'd get to know a little bit about each person, so that if I was talking to someone, if I was dialoguing with them, I'd match, as I said before, I'd match the circumstance of the original storyteller or the original story and match it with the person I was talking to at that point. So relevance is critically important. In fact, that's another key aspect of storytelling, relevance. We have to be relevant for our target audience. So first thing I'd say for most marketers is to have a product story, or 10, or 5. You need, I would say, multiple stories. That would be great. If you're in the business opportunity arena, you need to have a money story. If you don't have your own story, okay, you find someone else's story and you leverage that story, and you can dine off other people's stories, no problem at all. If there are other stories, other types of stories, if you're promoting some kind of a lead system, all right, well, you need some lead stories as well, don't you? And once again, don't have to be your stories, they could be someone else's story. But what I've found is that it doesn't take long to generate leads. So if you need to have a lead story, you can probably create one of those stories quite quickly yourself, within maybe a week or so, because certainly when I started using Facebook properly, it was only 2 years ago, two and a bit years ago, 2.5 years ago. It only took me about a week to start generating leads using free, not advertising, but free Facebook, you know, strategies. So I had a story, I had a lead story. So if I was talking to somebody on Facebook Messenger, for instance, I talk to them, I share my lead stories, even though I hadn't necessarily made any money from this new strategy. I had a lead story. So I said, well, look, just in the last week, I've generated 10 quality leads, and I think at least 2 or 3 of those people are going to do business with me, right? So just even little stories like that can make a huge difference. Let's see who else we've got here, because I've got the best. I want to leave the best to last. Okay, Craig says a little bit of echo, but nothing too bad. Yeah, see, I'm living, the house that I'm living in is, there's no carpet. They have tiles, so there's naturally a little bit more echo, and there's nothing I can do about it, not a damn thing. If I'm living in a Western country, more often than not, there'll be carpet on the floor, and that tends to absorb some of the noise. And the other thing is that the buildings here, the ceiling is very high, so it's not like a low ceiling, which is typical in certainly in Western countries that I've experienced. So it's very, very high, so there can be a little bit of an echo chamber effect. But having said that, when I replay my videos using this little microphone here, the echo effect is absolutely minimal. So I'm not sure what Pedram's talking about, because the replay generally it comes out fine. But sorry about that, nothing I can do about it, as I said. Now, who else have we got here? Joseph. Hi, Joseph. How are you? Okay, now, so what are we talking about? We're talking about product stories. We're talking about product customer type stories. If you're promoting business opportunities, things like that, okay, well, you need to have an income story, yours or someone else's. And if you're promoting a business opportunity, you probably need to have some kind of a lead generation story, because people always want to know about that, don't they? If they're thinking about doing a business or something like that, they want to know, how are you finding customers, right? How are you getting it? What's the method? And they want to hear a story. If you don't give them a story, they will feel deprived. They will. You've got to give them a story. Stop talking, stop spieling, and share a story. Just share a story. And as I said, if you don't have one of your own, share someone else's story. No problem at all. Now, the best type of story, or one of the best types of stories, I'm going to leave just for a minute. Give me 30 seconds here. I need to say something. If you're a member of my Tribe Builder community group, I've got another Facebook Live coming up. So I'm doing back-to-back lives. Okay, so the next one is coming up in, where's my phone here? Let me check the time. Okay, it's 9:14. It's coming up in 15 minutes time. So, and that particular Facebook Live, great topic, 5 copywriting tips, 5 top copywriting tips to explode your lead flow and your sales. 5 copywriting tips. So we get right down and dirty with some specific techniques. And these are techniques that I've used as a professional copywriter. I think you can get some benefit from it. So Tribe Builder community, if you're not a member, you better, if you can just go over there, click on make a request to join. And as long as I get time to approve you, I will approve you so you can watch, because it'll only be in that group, Tribe Builder Community. Okay, now I'm going to leave what I think is possibly the best till last. Hi, Michael, how you doing? David, yeah, g'day, David. Good to have you on board. I'm going to leave the best to last, another type of story. And this is what we call the hero story, the hero story. Everybody has a hero story, including you. You've got a hero story. Some people say to me, "Oh, I just lead a small life. My life has been fairly boring. How can I be a hero? Where's my hero story?" Well, normally, if I talk to somebody for a few minutes, even like 5 minutes or something like that, normally I can find pockets of excellence. I can find examples where that person had a trial, had a tribulation, had a challenge, had a setback, and overcame it. It doesn't have to be business, it could be anything. It could be a health challenge, it could be a relationship challenge, it could be a work-related challenge, it could be anything. It could be sporting, sporting challenge that you had. You're in doing sports and you found a way to overcome it. Now, the reason why I talk about the hero story, and we talk about it a lot in my my paid group, and is because you can, when you create your own little hero story, it gives you confidence. I think it helps to bolster your belief. It helps to demonstrate your value to the world. Okay, and if you get clear about it, then you can articulate parts of it, snippets of it, mini segments of it, and share it with people. And that will help to draw people closer to you. Now, I didn't even know anything about this hero story thing, when I first started out as a marketer, but as an online marketer, but I instinctively started using it. So, when I was telling you before, I used to generate leads online, and then I would phone them. So it's an offline activity. Okay, so we married offline with online. I'd phone those leads. And one of the things that I did, one of the little stories that I included was my mini hero story. Now, I didn't call it that. I had never even heard of the term hero story at that point, but I just instinctively did it. And it was like the 60-second version, my 60-second hero story. So I shared my pain. I shared the fact that, I had a business, a traditional business that collapsed and crumbled around my ears. So that was the pain part, the trial, the tribulation, the setback, the major setback. And then I told them about my plan to overcome it and break free. right? So there's just a mini 60-second hero story. So that's probably, I think that's be the best thing to end on today or tonight, is the hero story. Why don't you write your little hero story? It doesn't have to be a manuscript. It doesn't have to be a long essay or anything like that. It could be just, you know, 4 or 5 paragraphs. It could be like a summary version of it. You can do the full one later, but just a summary version of it, like 5 paragraphs or something like this. This is what happened, this is how I overcame it, and this is how I am, this is why I am a better person today. The hero story. And you can leverage it in all sorts of different ways and use it in your marketing, particularly when you're talking to people one-on-one on Messenger, or, you know, on the phone, on Skype, or Zoom calls, whatever method you use to communicate with people. If you can share your little hero story, even a snippet, a 60-second version, I'm telling you, that will attract people, that will draw people closer to you. There'll be more empathy happening. You don't want sympathy, but having a bit of empathy would be great. And so it'll help to bring people closer to you. They'll be thinking, hey, this person's just like me. He's just like me. He's had challenges, he's had trials and tribulations, and he's overcome them. And they feel closer to you as a result of that. They feel that you're more human. You're not just a robot. You're not just a dumbass marketer who's just spieling all the time. You're a real human being who's had some challenges, and you're happy to share those challenges, but also you've got to give people the good news, right? Everyone loves a happy ending, don't they? Everyone loves it. That's why most of the movies with happy endings, they do well. Okay, so we share the pain, but then we share the gain. So you've got to construct it in such a way that there's a happy ending there, and that'll put a smile on the face of the person that you're talking with. So that's my last thought for this little Facebook Live today. Create your little hero story. So in summary, you need some product stories. You need a company story if you're promoting as an affiliate or something like that. Okay, you need a company story. You need, if you've got a success story of your own, you need one of those. And if you're selling business opportunities or something like that, okay, you need some kind of a you know, money story or something like that. If you don't have one yourself, you share others. And then finally, your little hero story. Okay, Joseph, David, Michael. Okay. Michael, hi Michael, and Penny, good to see you again, Penny. All right, okay, that's it. I've got to head over to the group, Try Build a Community. If you want to join me over there, Try Build a Community. If you need the link, just type it in there and I'll give it to you as soon as I finish this call. But you can just type it into your Facebook search box, Try Build a Community, and I'll check to see if there's any requests to join. I'll approve you. And then we will do the next Facebook Live coming up in about 8 minutes' time. And it's 5 hot copywriting tips for your business. You're going to love these. Absolutely. I was going to make it 3, but I decided to throw in another 2 as a bonus. You're going to love these. 5 hot copywriting tips for your business. All right. Okay. Yeah. Hi, Taz. Hi, Taz. Good to see you again. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to move out of this Facebook Live and get ready for my next one. I'm heading over to the Try Build a Community group. I think I'll be seeing some of you there. Okay. Get moving forward with your storytelling. It will make a huge difference. Trust me. It'll make a huge difference if you become really effective at telling stories. Small stories, bigger stories, whatever. Focus on stories. You don't need to do much more than that to often bring people over to your cause. Stories are powerful. They're potent. People love them. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Talk to you again in a couple of days. This will be the next one I'll be running from my personal profile, but I'm heading over to the community group now. Okay, see ya. Bye-bye.